Is it some devil that crawls inside of you?
Welcome back, listeners, to the Bad Etiquette Podcast. We're fucking closing in on number 100 soon. I think this is episode 98, 97, 98. I've had to remove a couple, and I've had some others that were not Bad Etiquette episodes, but Matt Brain episodes. So I've definitely done more than 100 podcasts, but we're really just fucking, I'm trying to get to 100, number 100 before the end of the year. Just as like a own little personal goal of mine.
That's just one a week till the end.
You think it would be that fucking easy? Just do one podcast a week.
It's not easy. I'm just saying one per week is manageable.
Yeah. Well, this lovely voice you hear beside me is my own flesh and blood brother, Justin Tomlinson. How you doing?
Good.
I'm so excited to have.
Busy.
Yeah. Why so busy?
Oh, just getting all of the boards done for people who've ordered them, and just trying to get all of that.
And what is that you do? What boards? What are you talking about?
Oh, so I basically make cutting boards that can either be laser engraved or have an epoxy resin inlay. Mm-hmm. So take a sports team for example, can. Engrave the Cowboys logo into a...
That's funny. That's the first team I thought of.
Cutting board. And then it's just that's the most recent one I did this morning.
Okay.
So, and then once you've got it engraved, fill it with colored or clear epoxy.
And they look terrific too. I know what they are, obviously, but I want everyone to listening to know what they are too, because they're so cool, and it's such a unique craft for me to even witness. You do.
Yeah. And then the other item that I do most often is they're fractal burnt charcuterie boards.
Yeah. Those are crazy.
And so the fractal burn portion of it basically is also known as Lichtenberg wood burning.
Lichtenberg?
So the guy who kind of discovered lightning and that it carried electricity was a scientist with the last name Lichtenberg. So that's they're called Lichtenberg figures or fractal burns. And basically what you're doing is you're taking upwards of 8 to 10,000 volts and running it through a piece of wood, and it kind of looks like lightning striking the board when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
So it burns the channels in the board. You clear those out, mm-hmm. and then put a colored epoxy in there and coat the whole thing in clear, and it ends up just being a super glossy, kind of cool serving tray.
Yeah, that finish on everything, they really look terrific. It's such a cool, I feel like referentially proud just being in the perimeter or the proximity of you.
Well, you've seen pretty much each step of it now, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I mean, seriously, every step, I may not be paying close attention, but, and if you guys hear crickets in the background, just, we're outside in nature. It's beautiful out here in the freezing cold and the lovely, no, it's your, what are they called? Anoli's meal?
Yeah, so it's the crickets are the feeder insects for the Bahamian anole that is in that terrarium right there behind us.
Is it a boy or a girl? Do you how many do you have?
Just the one.
Just the one?
And it's
did you not have two at one point? Did you eat one? What happened?
I did not eat one. I believe the they kind of, I think they had a survival of the fittest war in there.
Oh shit!
And that one lost.
Damn, that's crazy.
I wasn't here. I didn't see it. I can't guarantee that's what happened, but I don't know what else it would be. Why one would be perfectly fine and the other one not. Mm-hmm. Out of nowhere. Yeah. They're both young. They're not old. They're not gonna.
Yeah,
so
you don't need
to
be a CSI.
Yeah.
To know if something happened. So did you just show up one day and one of them was dead or what?
One of them, yeah. Well, kind of. I noticed it was on the ground.
Yeah,
like on the floor of the terrarium, and they don't ever
go down
like
there.
that. They want to be as high as possible up in like the canopy area, so they can hide.
Yeah,
And so it was weird because I noticed it on the ground, and then from there,
I'm ready for that cricket.
even if it's on the ground, generally they're moving around and they're not there for long.
Yeah.
And this one like hadn't even moved spots in like an hour, and I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. So I opened it up and put my hand in there, to kind of like just
say, hey,
bump it or give it a love tap, see what was going on. And
you crushed it with your hand, you killed it.
No. And then it kind of like, I spooked it and it moved a little bit, and so I'm like, oh, okay, so it's cool, it's good. And then I was like, well, maybe it's sick. I'm like, I don't want it to get the other one sick.
Got COVID.
So yeah, so I scooped him up and put him in a separate smaller terrarium that I have.
Yeah.
Isolation tank kind of. And then
he got put in solitary
and
confinement.
I was sitting right here at the edge of my bed on this little bench, and I had it right there up on the dresser. And I was sitting there watching it, and it started like moving, climbing up the branch. And all of a sudden it stopped, stood up on its 2 back feet, straight up in the air, looked like it was stretching like as high as it could in the air. Like, I guess you would say it seized for a second. It like literally was stiff as a board, shook back and forth like this really quick, and then boom, hit the ground. Done. And I was like, mother trucker. I'm like, okay, maybe it like fainted. So I'm watching it. I'm like, I don't think it's breathing. But I didn't want to like get rid of it and have it end up being like playing possum. So I was like, well, shoot. So I kind of like just left it there for a while, waited an hour or two. I'm like, okay, it's still on its back. It hasn't moved. It hasn't breathed. It's gone,
Oh, man.
So I scooped it up and went and...
Viking funeral in the toilet?
No. Just went right here out by the garage and like dug a hole like as big as my hand and then like tossed it in.
Oh no. Got a little burial.
Well, what else do you do with it? You don't throw it away. I mean, you don't just put it in the trash. So I wasn't quite sure what you would do.
I know. Could you imagine just on top of the hamburger helper box, just like, hey,
yeah,
I guess, yeah. I mean, I think it's better than. It's a little more, like, I don't know, more than a goldfish, because you at least.
Well, and the toilet kind of makes sense for a goldfish because they live in the water.
Water burial. Yeah, I get that.
It's like with a lizard, but you don't just throw it away. You can't just leave it in there and let it rot. That's disgusting.
Oh man, were you like a little sad when that happened? Were you like, oh no, my pet just fucking like had a death rattle and to the sky and fell?
Yes and no. So not in the sense of like, oh, I was sad because I was attached to it or anything but more like I just felt bad because out of nowhere this thing just like kind of keeled over, and I'm like, was it me? Did I do something? Was it just
you got it too high and
it had a fucking heart attack at a young age, like something I wouldn't have been able to control? So it was just more or less kind of just was upset in the fact that like something I was taking care of
failed,
keeled over so quickly.
Yeah, like it.
And generally, I mean, obviously, I have my dog. I have the other lizard. I've had plenty of animals that I've taken care of well and have not had any issues with.
I mean, you've taken care of
and this was kind of like the first thing. This was kind of like the first thing, with the exception of the frog.
Yeah, I don't even know about the frog.
And so when I originally got the anole, the one that the green anole that's no longer here.
Yeah.
I bought a tree frog and an anole.
Yeah, that's right. The tree frog. I remember.
The tree frog was really short-lived.
Oh.
I don't know what happened. And I don't even know what happened with that one. I just came in one day. He was sitting steady, never moved, didn't make any more sound. When I put food in there, he didn't move. So I was like, okay. Went and kind of like prodded it to see if it would move. And it just like... And what's weird is it both happened in that small isolation terrarium.
Oh shit! That's like their hospice, dude.
I guess.
Fucking gave them their own hospice cage. That's fucking wild.
Well, that one's gone now. I only have this one now. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know, man. I think you killed 2 of your pets.
Yeah, I know, and it just made me start to not feel so confident about
your system here.
Well, about the the care I provide to animals, I guess.
Well, he's fine.
I know.
For those of you who don't know, this is my brother. The origin story of this podcast really starts with you and my former constant co-host here, Remy the dog, just chilling getting a big stretch in right there on the bed. This used to be my bedroom, and this is where I did the first like 80 episodes of the podcast, and this is a huge part of the show, and it's so fun and funny to me to come full circle, you know, closing in on 100 episodes with you, because you are the one responsible for me really kick-starting this thing, and now it's back in the room where it all started, and now it's your bedroom, and Remy the dog's still sitting here fucking passed out on the bed.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's his number one skill and favorite pastime.
Just being a lazy dog.
Mm-hmm.
What a lovely life. Like, what a nice problem to have, though.
Right.
You know,
I tell him all the time, hey, let's trade.
Let's trade. Go to work for me.
I'll stay at home all day and lick my balls, and you can fucking go to work.
It's like, well, I don't have any goddamn balls.
Well, okay.
It's like, we can't trade.
He's licking something. I know that. Probably his butt on my pillow, which is disgusting. Which is why I switch pillows.
Yeah.
Like from this one to this one, I'll flop them. Because I'm like, he could have put his butt on my pillow today, so I'm not using that pillow.
Just giving you doggy pink eye.
Right. And then, probably this doesn't sound the greatest thing in the world, but like, it's not like I know for a fact he did.
Yeah.
But if he did, I'm not putting my face on it.
Yeah.
So I'll swap pillows, and then the next day, I'll swap...
Again? Or sheets?
From front to back of the pillow, basically.
Yeah.
So you've got 4 clean pillow uses if you think about it. If you have 2 pillows on your bed,
you're doing a tactical reload of your pillow faces.
and then every 4 days, I put on a new set of pillowcases.
Oh man,
and sheet, everything. Just because you never know.
You have a whole anti-dog ass system.
Well, I mean, it's one thing if you get pink eye. It's another thing if you get pink eye because your dog rubbed his asshole on your pillow while you were at work.
Oh fuck. Fair enough. And he has some stinkers. They'll just like,
oh my god,
right out of the fucking gate there.
And some of them are so loud and audible. It's like, how did that not come out of a human person?
Yeah, a human person. You could.
Well, you know what I mean. But
human.
Because a good majority of his, you can hear them, but they're not like super audible. They're like.
A lot of them are that. They're literally.
Yeah, it's like with air, and you're like, all of a sudden it hits you, and you're like, oh god, Remington.
Stinky dog farts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is he okay? His paw is shaking. Check his pulse. It looks like he's gonna go the way of the tree frog
I touch
right
it
now.
And it stops. It's like, it's a certain way he puts his.
Dude, I think it's this room. I think there must be mold in here or something. He looks like he's about to join the Anolan tree frog.
No.
I know. No, seriously. If anything happened to him, I would be torn apart.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the day that he's no longer here. But.
Oh, man. I don't even want to think about it. I just want to fucking enjoy every bit of him and know that that's why you love things and love people so much. That time you get with them is so precious and so finite. So you just got to make it count. And honestly, that's like... I think just not really knowing how kind of like emotionally maybe not unsupported I felt, but like emotionally kind of void of things I was feeling before he was around. And then I just had this unconditional love bug,
like out of nowhere.
And then it was just like, oh my god, I could feel this good all the time. I would just get so like, it's so nice when you open the door and he's so excited to see you and you're like, dude, we're just gonna go lay down and get high and watch movies. You're my best fucking friend. And it's like, he doesn't care what you're wearing. He's not judging what you're eating. He's just, can I have some?
He might be judging what you're eating on if he can sneak in a bite.
What the hell is that? It is such a great system of like dogs. And I've met some dogs that are not fun dogs and not good dogs, and they're outside for a reason, or etc. But he is seriously, I think the breeds he's mixed with too, are just so, just lend themselves to that kind of like household staple.
Well, definitely on the boxer side.
I was thinking the shepherd side.
No, so the Queensland, he is half boxer, half Queensland healer, and the Queensland side of him is 80% of where like his personality comes from. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because the way he talks, he's very vocal. If he doesn't like something, he's gonna let you know.
Yeah,
If
it's weird.
You know.
He's like a damn crow.
But as far as boxers, they're very family-friendly dogs. Believe it or not, most people think they're some scary breed, you know.
I think it's the name boxer, and it's because of how they stand up on their hind legs and kind of box.
They use their hands more than any other breed, or their front feet.
Yeah, just that variant of dog, wolf variant.
But yeah, like the vocalness and the kind of klutzy kind of personality he has, I think that comes mostly all from the Queensland side. But then the cuddly kind of affectionate family dog side of him is the boxer.
Okay.
Because you have two totally opposite types of dogs. Like one is a working dog. That's where it's
and this is not a
roots
working
come from
dog.
and everything. And then you've got then you've got
This
him, and it's like
stinky, lazy son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't even.
You know what though?
He doesn't raise his head unless you've got food or a ball or something.
Yeah, not at all. It's so funny. But I call him Stinky just as like a term of endearment. But he doesn't smell. He's not a smelly dog. Like hardly ever is it ever a problem. I've been around some smelly dogs.
Yeah,
like Tasha's dog Coco. Poor girl. She's so stinky.
She's also really old, and dogs.
She has old people smell.
Well, yeah, kind. I get. Yeah, I mean, really, but yeah, she's
up there.
She's going on 11 now.
Yeah, I'd say about 11, huh?
And
right around.
Yeah, actually,
just under Cadence. Age-wise, huh?
Yep, she's going on 11 exactly.
Yeah, going on 11.
I think her birthday's like May.
Oh,
March or May. Or something.
But yeah, that's a stinky dog. Remy, not stinky.
Yeah, he's got
Remington.
one of those kind of like self-maintaining coats where it's short hair, it's not long, it doesn't.
Oh, it's
and because
nice.
even when we go outside, like out to the park, and he gets all excited and he'll roll around in the grass and stuff. Like when we get home, I don't ever see a piece of grass. There's nothing that's stuck in his hair.
Yeah,
It's
like
it doesn't pick up or collect the things that make a dog stinky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's nice. He's like his own. Yeah, he really is his own like self-cleaning system.
Yeah, his body's his own ecosystem.
I mean, shit, aren't they all?
Bioactive setup right here.
How Jesus Christ! I wish you guys could see. Like, I'm gonna take a picture. Maybe, hopefully, I'll post it when this episode comes out, just to see like how absolutely like lazy and unassuming this dog is.
Oh, deep sigh.
Deep sigh.
He's like, damn, someone got a picture.
He's like, damn it.
This dog is so camera shy. It's funny.
It's so annoying. It is so annoying. He does the
he'll look at you and smile and do everything. The minute you touch a phone and open the camera, immediately he freaking turns away, looks away.
He's like
goes somewhere else. He's like, there's no way.
He's like a chubby teenage girl, just hot, just like no pictures, please. It's fucking exhausting.
Yeah. Except for the chubby part, he's not got that part down yet.
Yeah, he's still chubby.
At heart, though, this dog's a fat ass.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you meant. I said he's still chubby, but that's not what you meant. You meant
see, and I didn't
spiritually.
Even catch that.
I know. I'm just kind of just throwing him out here. How'd you name him?
So I had gotten him the day after Thanksgiving, like random.
Yeah.
Super random on a whim. Someone had said something at Thanksgiving, and I was like, hey, I'm like, I kind of want a dog.
Oh.
And so on Thanksgiving Day, I was searching online to see if there was any dogs available anywhere. Stumble across it and find just like a random person off Facebook, basically.
Yeah. Facebook puppy marketplace.
Yeah, kind of. And so I wrote him, and I'm like, hey, I'm interested in these in getting one of these dogs. what ones do you still have available? Because there was pictures of them all up there, but obviously, which
Some of
ones
them
are
are
still
gone,
available?
yeah.
Because how long had that ad been there? Anyway, and so they wrote me back, and they're like, actually, they've all been spoken for at this point in time. Da da da. No, okay, cool, no problem, thank you. And it kind of like died out there. It was like I got my impulse thing for a second, like, I want a dog, and then they're like, oh, there's none available. So I was like,
you were
okay.
instantly gratified.
I was like,
so
okay, no big deal.
Passing moment.
Yeah, and then
Fleeting feeling.
the next morning at like 7:30 in the morning, my phone goes off, and they had wrote me again, and they said, oh, someone backed out, so there is one female available. Now, mind you, I just said female, and my dog is male.
Misgendered.
So,
Ouch.
either that or, well, no, clearly he was male.
Yeah, of course.
If
They had
you
dick
could
and balls,
not figure that out, I have
it's good
no clue
someone-
why you have dogs.
Yeah, I see why you're giving them away. You do not
But
deserve to keep them.
where was I going with that?
Naming him.
Oh, right. So, anyways, I drive there to go pick him up, expecting I'm getting a girl dog because that's what I was told. Show up, pick him up. I get to meet both of his parents, and the couple that I was talking to through Messenger and stuff. They were very young, boyfriend, girlfriend. Each of them had their own dog.
Yeah.
They moved in together. The dogs got friendly, and they ended up with puppies.
That's so romantic.
It was like two 19, 20-year-old kids,
Yeah.
that had no clue what they were doing with the 7 or 8 puppies.
Wow.
And the mom dog, actually, after the first three weeks of caring for the puppies, literally just kind of like walked away and wanted nothing to do with any of them
Postpartum
after the third
puppy
week.
depression. That's
Yeah, it was after the
wild.
third week though, which was weird. Or they'll normally ignore one if it's sick or not,
Yeah.
But it was so they were trying to bottle feed like 7 or 8 puppies in the middle of the night every couple hours.
No.
And they're like, we just can't do this, we can't. So that's why they were getting rid of him.
Yeah.
And I got him when he was 5 weeks old.
5 weeks old.
So before he should have been away from his mom or family or anything.
That's why he's so attached
But,
to you.
So I didn't have a name picked out for a boy dog, clearly.
What was your girl name?
I can't even remember now.
That woke
But
him up. He's like,
so I have this dog now, but this dog does not yet have a name. And that's a really awkward stage. You're like, dog,
Hey, my kid.
dog, here, come here, dog, or
Hey.
puppy, like,
Bubba,
and
buddy.
and you don't want to call him too many names and get him used to something and then switch it on him.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I've got to come up with something. So the next day, my sister was watching the dog. Our sister was watching the dog, and I was at work, and I had to use the restroom, is what we'll say. And so I went to the restroom, and while I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, kill time. There's magazines next to the sink right there, so you can. I grabbed a magazine and I'm flipping through it, and then got to the end of everything, and I closed up the magazine, put it back on the counter, and I throw it to where like the back cover is facing upward, and the entire back cover of this magazine was a Remington rifle ad. And I just saw it. It clicked. I'm like, it works perfect.
Yeah.
It would fit like the personality that I had seen him have within the 18 hours I had this dog. And it just worked out really well. So I was like, so I went home, told my sister, I'm like, I know the dog's name now. She's like, what? I'm like, Remington. And she's like, oh, okay. And then I'm pretty sure I had to explain the whole story of how I came up with that. Too. Yeah. But that he got his name because I was going number 2 in the bathroom while I was at work, and I saw an ad for a rifle on a magazine.
That's funny. How fucking cool. How little buddy. Thanks for giving us the origin story for Remy, because it's honestly,
Oh yeah. So let me finish back up on the boy girl thing.
Oh yeah.
So if someone has animals that they're selling, getting rid of, whatever it may be, okay, I have 8 puppies, period, say basically. And then I know I've got 3 boys and like 4 girls. Okay.
Yeah.
That's only 7, but okay, 4 and 4. How about that? And then you start, like
checking them off.
Yeah, I was gonna say pairing them up with their prospective owners. Okay, so these people want a boy, that person wants a girl, and they're matched, like they're set, So they're like, we have 1 girl left. So I show up there, pick up the dog. I don't think to inspect the dog's genitalia before I leave,
because when someone says it's a girl,
they said, hey, we have 1 available and it's a female. I'm gonna trust you that you have 1 female because they're your dogs.
Yeah. Why would you lie about that?
And
why would that be wrong?
So I get. Plus, he was like wrapped up in a towel because he's only 5 weeks old, and it was cold when I went and picked him up. So he's wrapped in a towel.
Oh, little cold Remy.
And walked back to my car, put him in. I had bought like a little tiny dog bed, before I went to go pick him up. So everything that I bought now, mind you, is pink. He has a pink collar. He has a pink bed. He has all of these things. And so we drive home, and I put him down in the backyard with the other dog, and he stops, in the middle of the lawn and like kind of squats down and pees. And he's behind me. I'm sitting on the patio, and Tasha's kind of sitting across from me, how you are. And she goes, hey, brother, I thought you got a girl dog. I'm all, I did. What do you mean? She goes, well, then she has a dick. I'm all, what? She goes, yeah. And so I went over there and I picked it up and,
flipped him over.
Kind of did the reverse Lion King thing there. And I'm like, holy moly, he does.
He got a boy.
So
that would fuck.
I don't know if
up.
they screwed up and gave me the wrong dog.
I think that's what happened.
I don't know if they truly just did not know what was what.
Or what if they were like super woke and they were like, we're just gonna give it a non-affirming gender, which is the opposite. Like they were just like, we're not even giving our dogs the right gender. We're just gonna give them one, and they can choose if that's how they want to be raised or not.
Yeah, but it's not. Well,
that's probably not what fucking happened. But
definitely probably not. But I mean, the possibilities could be.
I feel like that long ago, that wasn't really a thing.
No, because he is
4.
He's now over 4 years old.
Over 4 years old. Oh my God, my little college graduate, little preschool graduate, huh? This especially is like one of those times where having a video for the podcast people would really appreciate, because just being smitten with this kitten killer over here is nice and
kitten killer.
Nice and not audio friendly.
No, he's a really good dog, but kitten killer's far off.
Yeah. I'm sure if you gave him a
runs
kitten,
away from cats.
Really?
He's not the one to like go chase a cat. He's terrified.
All right. Well, enough about Remy. Let's get to the guest of the hour here, Mr. Tomlinson. What's up? I don't think I've ever had quite that many like long conversations with you, even though we spend a lot of time together. I didn't really.
I don't think that's true. More recently, I don't think that's true. But in the past, I mean, yeah definitely.
I mean, we have a 4-year age gap. We have a Remy age gap here.
Yep. Yeah, and believe it or not, 4 years seeming like it's. When you're a kid, 4 years is a huge age gap.
Huge.
So when your siblings are 4 years. For me, 4 years older than me, and then also 4 years younger than me, it's a far gap between either sibling. I mean, it's the same gap.
Yeah.
But it's not like, oh, we're 2 years apart, where it's like you guys kind of, go to the same schools, or go to
same
have a lot of the same kind of interests or generational mentality, I guess.
Yeah, no,
and
I mean,
so like growing up as kids, we were not that close. Me and Tasha weren't that close. You know, it's just kind of the way it is. We all
we're
far
a
enough apart in age
whole
where,
graduating class apart.
Yeah, basically.
It's wild.
So, but what's weird is once I got older, obviously Tasha's the oldest, so she's older.
Mm-hmm.
You know, her and I started to get along much better, share interests, have things to discuss or talk about, and then same with you as we grew up.
Mature.
You know?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Like,
I know. Well, and
one of those things. You're 10. You know.
Yeah, you're 14.
I'm 14.
Tasha's
it's like
8 fucking teen.
There's not a whole lot between
a 14
you and I.
and 10,
you know, at 10 and 14, that we're going to have a huge amount in common to discuss. But as you get older, that changes, and then you've got plenty of things to talk about.
And you know what?
It doesn't even matter at that point. Really,
I'm so thankful that we weren't terribly like close growing up in that sense, that it can happen now instead of it being the reverse, where we would be close when we were growing up, and then as we're adults kind of drift apart. Right. That would really suck and really hurt.
True.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because like I when, you know, like I remember being like a kid and it, you know, just by nature's default looking up to your older brother. You know what I mean? There was so many things that I did listen to, watched, and were interested in just because, oh, brother's doing it. Why would I not do that? That's clearly like my example to follow. So it's really, I don't even know where I was going with that, but it was just like I owe so much of who I am to you and even this podcast, because like I know I had like maybe mentioned something about it and like was really interested in it or didn't even know how to start it or whatever, and just one December 2 or 3 years ago you gave me a microphone with an audio jack and you said, here, to get your podcast
like
started.
The one that just plugged directly into the laptop.
Yeah, and that's how it started, and that's how I did the first couple episodes with that. Really? Actually, many of the first, I don't even remember when I switched over which equipment, how many like incarnations of recording equipment this has been. But
it's had a few versions, I know that.
Yeah. And you were on one of the earliest episodes, like the first like 10, like maybe number 8. It was the Pet Cemetery review.
One. That's the only one that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that one is the one you were on.
I don't think it was that early though.
It was. I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay.
Regardless, it was, I remember just what a warm reception, because I didn't have enough, like 2 mics for guests or whatever, I don't think. I'm not sure if I had or not.
When we did the Pet Cemetery one? Yeah, you did.
Oh, I did? Okay. Oh, okay. So I think, all right. But you were like, I'm not going to be in your fucking podcast, but I'll sit here while you record it.
That's not what I did.
That was back in when we were, you know, even less friendly with each other.
You know, your podcast review of the remake of the movie. Yeah. And again, you know, having a 4-year gap, we have a difference in opinions, difference in
interests,
the way, you know, like, so much so in the fact that you're younger than me, right? Yeah. So you think like I would be into the like older things or appreciation for things that are older than newer, I guess. And but like, you know, you just had your strong feelings because the original to that movie was one thing to you. Yeah. Like, and so going and watching a remake can always be kind of like
upsetting.
Yes. Or you could walk away and be like, okay, they did that justice. I like that. That's good. I'm happy with that. As to where I didn't have a dog in the fight as opposed to whether this remake was going to be good or bad, because yeah, I'd seen the original Pet Cemetery multiple times, but it wasn't anything like special to me or something that grabbed an interest to me enough to where
it's just another movie to you,
to where the remake would be, you know, disappointing or exciting. To me, there was no, it was like, okay, yeah, I'll go watch a movie. But for the review, because you have that like emotional kind of connection to it, you know, I would have taken away from your review is what I'm saying.
There's no fucking way.
Because there were something,
and literally you being like, just commenting on in the background was so helpful, and people really I just got a warm reception from it too, and it was really cool to do. And that was one of the like best kind of reviewed, at least like in terms of like socially, my listener base kind of commented on. Rem, you want to get let out? Longtime listeners are used to this happening. There he goes.
Yeah. You can hear his big old floppy ears.
Yeah, and came right back. Just checking on mom, making sure she's good. Yeah, but not to get off subject, meaning you being the subject.
That was totally Remy, by the way, just so everybody's aware.
Yeah, but I love movies so much, and the way this podcast is circled back to film so much that I'm really, really considering creating a different show for film and movies.
Just literally like reviews, or
not even
just in general?
Just in general, just for the sheer, like, I love movies. Like, I'm not pretentious about film. I don't think that, like, B movies are bad, and but like I love movies, I love film so much of like who I am as a person. I can really attribute to a lot of movies, and how important the video store culture was to me as a kid, and how important like just escapism they provide. And just like I just want to have conversations with people too about like what movie did this for you. And a lot of the time films are they're punctuations in people's lives, where it's like, I remember when I saw that in theaters, and that was when I was in high school before things got really crazy. Or I remember when I was a kid, that was the last time I saw like a good kids movie before I grew up, and that was, I watched it with my mom or my sister, and it was really like meaningful, and I have those good memories. Or like there was a sleepover and we all watched fucking Friday the 13th number 9, and it was that one's my favorite because Les fucking shit his pants that night or something, or whatever.
Yeah, one of the funny things that happened today. So I got a pressure pot, right?
That loud thing in there?
Well, that was the air compressor.
Okay.
That pressurizes it, but no, the gray round pot that I have sitting out there.
Yeah.
So it's a pressure pot. So you literally it puts whatever you put in it under pressure. And so one of the struggles Mom was having with the dominoes, was making those resin dominoes, is there would always be these like little teeny micro bubbles in the corners.
Okay.
Which when you demold it creates a sharp edge on the top edge of the domino.
Yeah.
So it was something we tried fixing multiple times and struggled with. So we finally got this pressure pot, because it's supposed to literally pressurize the air so much so in there it makes the bubble so small it basically doesn't exist. You'll never even notice, basically.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So the way it sits, how it's like kind of sideways, it's got the gauge on the top, it's got air or different lines running into it. What would that remind you of?
Flubber.
Yes, exactly.
Flubber.
So
I knew exactly where you're
talking
about.
There was a few people over, and I was talking about the pressure pot, and they had mentioned that it looked like something, and I don't even know. It was Patrick, and I don't remember what he said it looked like. I'm like, the first thing I think of every time I look at it is like Flubber's gonna come busting out of that thing and bouncing around the dang workshop. So
that's so funny, because as you're explaining it, I was like, oh, I know where he's going with this. It fucking clicked right there.
Which I wasn't aware. So supposedly, the Robin Williams flubber that I'm assuming that's what you think of. That's what I think of. That's what my mind goes to.
I think I remember you watching that with you.
Supposedly, that's a remake.
But like what?
I don't know. But Karen and Patrick and even Mom were talking about an original flubber. I'm like, that is the original flubber. That's
flubber,
the only flubber that I'm aware of.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I don't know if they were getting it confused with something or what.
Or maybe that's like one of the like mandala effects, where it's like there was like they think there was an original flubber. But
that is
what
it.
That is.
That's what I was trying to tell them. I'm like, well, think about it. Like, I'm 30 years old, and that came out when I was like 1, 2, something like that. Like it's almost a 30-year-old movie. Maybe that is the original movie they're thinking of, but they kept telling me, no, there's another one.
Dude, classic. I have like that whole frickin' movie.
But every time I look at that pressure pot
in my head,
I'm like, flubber.
Yeah, just
Yep.
The noise, the sound effects, the Foley sound from that movie is like in my head. That's so crazy.
Problem is, if Remy caught it, he'd eat it.
Oh yeah, Flubber would be a short movie.
But we know how that goes.
No, remind me. What happens? Someone eats it?
It jumps down that guy's throat. Remember, it comes out his other end.
Oh, it just fucking rips out his back pocket.
The same guy that plays Shooter McGavin in
Christopher McDonald.
There you go.
Yeah.
In Billy Madison. Happy Gilmore.
Same difference. People do that all the time.
I always get those
his production
two mixed up.
company is Happy Madison now, so it's so funny.
Well, it has been for
Well, I mean, like,
years.
like not just now.
Yeah.
I know it has been for years. I'm just saying, like,
and it's
I don't
the golf
take
ball
any-
hitting the camera.
Well, it's actually
kinda thing.
Sandler's dad, his dead papa, his dead dad, looking at the camera lens, going terrific.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there was a older movie. I forget which one it is, but there's like a actual like video of it, him doing it, and then they did the kind of like stop motion style one after. But
Because it's kind of like animated.
yeah. It's animate, but it's not live. Funny that the Flubber, and I said Blob. One of my
Like your 1950s.
one of
movie.
the earliest. I've never seen the Blob, but one of my earliest memories is you
Terrible.
writing a
It's in
story.
black and white. And
Black and white movies are good though.
well,
There's some
granted,
that
I
are
mean, it's
good.
the 50s. You can't complain about
It's a sci-fi movie.
graphics.
Yeah, I think
because
there's
there was no computer
I think there's a
generated
remake.
anything. Huh?
I think there's a remake.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
That came out in the 80s, but I've never seen it. But you wrote
Anyway.
a story. You wrote a story in school, and I remember it was there was like the scientist like poured these chemicals down in like this like off a side of a bridge or drainage ditch, and then I was like chewing. You named the character after me, Dallas, threw his gum into the ditch.
Oh my god!
And then created the Blob, and I remember I was so like, it meant so much to me that you used my name in your story, because I was such a little kid that it was like, oh my gosh, like I think my brother
That's
doesn't hate me.
crazy.
That's
I would have
awesome.
never in my life ever remembered that unless you like bringing it up right now.
Yeah.
Because even as you're telling it, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I have no clue what he's talking about. Up until you said that the character was named, Dallas, and the threw the gum, throwing the gum over the and right there it just clicked. And probably somewhere, believe it or not, it may exist around
No
here.
fucking
but
way, dude.
It's either in the file cabinet in the garage or one of these two here. But yeah, because I've found some over the years. I've found some random school project things, that I'm like, oh my god, I still have this. And then you question to yourself, why do I still have this? Like this evidence should have been burned.
This is a failure. Why is this here?
Well, some of it, from when you're a kid and you do certain things in school and you look back at it later and you're like,
well, hey,
I was stupid.
I'm thankful, I'm thankful for at least one of them sticking around, because I got to use it in 4th grade for the mission, your La Turismo mission.
Counterfeit mission.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, and
because it was almost
Lord
like
knows
sniffed out that it was counterfeit.
I didn't even put much effort into that mission.
No, that was all Mom.
Yeah, I was gonna say I maybe helped for
smoked that thing.
hour.
The coolest fucking part about that thing though is the roof tiles made out of the nail strips. That was so genius. I will never forget that, and it's so good. And even before we probably had the emotional maturity to give Mom the credit for it, she was already like, I don't even fucking know. This is my fucking doing. She's like, I worked my ass off on this. Like, I think our projects.
What's crazy is that we stored that thing and kept it in a decent condition for
decent
4 years
condition,
to where you
enough
could
to where-
reuse it.
4 fucking years, yeah. I mean, I guess when you think about pack rats,
And we'd moved twice in that amount of time.
twice in that amount of time. We'd moved from Mercury to Chesapeake to Blackhawk.
No, I was not in 5th grade when we lived on Mercury. It was we had moved from
Chesapeake to Blackhawk. That's one time.
Yeah, but then didn't you have to use it in? You used it in in elementary school,
Yeah,
in 5th grade.
Yeah, Dana. Yeah,
Yeah.
4th grade.
Why was I
actually.
thinking we had moved to Orchid by then?
I don't know. Maybe that had come up in a project or something. I don't know. I don't know.
But anyways,
because you're like,
wasn't that the last of it?
Yeah.
Of that mission though, like the school asked if they could keep it, and we just gave it to them or something.
I don't know. I don't remember what happened to it. I'm
I
pretty sure
think
Mom
it stayed
wanted
at the
to keep-
school.
Okay, stayed at the school.
I'm pretty sure.
I had my 4th and 5th grade teachers were absolute fucking cunts and might be responsible for me turning into like a bad kid.
You were never really a bad kid though.
But like for like leaning into like, you know,
I mean, you could
heavy
be an
metal
asshole,
and
but
painting my nails black and fucking breaking shit, being a little vandal and
so you're just saying
thief,
like
little
they may contribute to the
delinquency of minors.
the rebelliousness that you kind of expressed at that point.
Because it was just like this is forever. I know I'm not trying to make this shit about me, but this is forever the seems to be like the tale of conflict I go through is I like something and I'm enjoying it, and then there's some fucking person that is for whatever reason in charge, a joy kill or whatever it is, in charge or has some sort of like empty fucking authority over me that is saying that it's wrong, bad, I can't do it, not good,
Not allowed.
Can't wear that t-shirt, Dallas. Can't wear that. Can't
have
listen to that
those,
music.
you know,
Can't what is this band you're drawing of, you know,
right.
you know, just like forever. And I know that's kind of so innocuous when it's like in grade school where it's like, oh, it's
But
just
it's
like
not.
it's
It's
distracting you from learning. It makes sense where it's like, yeah,
It
I don't
makes
want my
sense, but
fucking
as a
kid to
kid,
have.
You you don't have a whole lot of things you can do to express yourself, so you tend to do it through attitude, the clothing you wear, the music you listen to, things like that.
Yeah.
So to try to take that away from a child,
Yeah,
it seems like you're taking their world away. What else do they
taking
have
their
at that point?
self-expression away. You know what? I never got that perspective on it because I've just been so frustrated and bitter about it. But that's exactly what happened for Mrs. Wright and Mrs. Pierce in school, and they were just the worst. They were awful. I actually caught
OG Karens.
Yeah, I actually caught Mrs. Wright in a lie, trying to like frame me for something as a kid. This is so weird, so twisted, and so like out there. She decided that she wanted to pass a thank you card around for herself. Yeah, I know. It's already suspicious, so weird. Like she literally was like, if you guys, you know, want to sign a thank you card, here you go, for me. And it was so fucking weird.
She had to have her own Christmas card given to her by herself.
Mm-hmm.
And have the kids in class sign it.
So the kids were like, oh, you can sign it. You don't have to sign it. And I was like, I'm not fucking signing that shit. I hate you. You're a bitch. You know, you take my Godsmack drawings away and you don't let me draw heartograms. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, I like Bam Margera and not you, Mrs. Wright. So I didn't write anything on it. I was like, I just passed it along because I was like, no, thank you. And
right, because if you don't have anything nice to say, you don't say nothing.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not gonna write something and then get myself in trouble if it was bad or something. You know what I mean? It's like so obvious. Like you can literally watch all these kids not sign it or sign it, and someone, it was like she made the trap so she could like get me in trouble or something, because she got the card after all the kids, like within a few minutes, and like she's like, okay, who wrote you suck, you suck, you suck?
Well, it could be 3 people.
And I was like, wow. And I was like, I remember thinking, damn,
like, it
Sean.
wasn't me, but I wish I would have.
I was like, damn, these people are fucking, they know. I remember feeling so validated where I was like, oh, I hated her. And I thought it was my friend Sean Wood forever. And it kills me that I thought it was him, because it wasn't him. And he was like, I didn't fucking sign that shit, and I hate her. Or however the fuck Sean Wood used to talk. And She confronted me at lunch. I was outside by myself on a fucking picnic bench eating like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich like a fat little dick. And she's like, Dallas, I saw you do it. I know you did it. So you can just go admit it to the principal. And I would remember sitting there, and I had been in trouble a decent amount for as far as like disciplinary in school at this point. So I was like, I'm really not afraid of like getting in suspended or detention or whatever. And mind you, I'm in 4th grade, 10 years old. And the confidence that was just glowing from my body because I know I didn't actually write anything in that card was just must have just radiated just piss on her, because I was like, I'm fine. I know I didn't do it, so I feel good. Like, I remember just like, I know I didn't do it. I know I'm innocent, so it's okay. I'm not going to do that. I know it wasn't me. So, and it didn't occur to me that she like did that as like a I gotcha to get the kid in trouble.
Right.
For so long.
No, because at that time you're just thinking of like that current situation. You're like,
yeah, I'm not thinking logically.
I did not write it. Like, you're going to sit here and say you saw me write it and you're going to send me to the office for it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's go talk about it then. You're not thinking of like, she literally lied, created it and lied.
Fabricated
yes.
this. Bananas. Crazy.
It's always one of those things, like you look back at a situation and you're like, oh, I should have said this.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I should have done that. And
you just didn't have the wisdom at the point.
yeah, I mean,
Do you have does that make you think of something?
well, yeah, a current example. Not current, but so I don't know. It was not last week, but the week before. I was driving to work, and people piss me off on the road all the time. It
Runs in the family.
literally daily. I mean, but not to a point where I've ever like had road rage or whatever you will, you know.
Yeah.
I'll cuss somebody out or whatever, like as I'm driving down the road, but like my windows are up, their windows are up, they're never going to hear me. It's
just
not a
feels
confrontational thing. It's just I get frustrated, so I start cursing at them.
That's how I express myself.
But no, so I had woken up late, so I rushed in the morning to get ready, like skipped the coffee, you know, everything, and get in the car, forgot I needed to get gas, so I had to stop, put gas. So now I'm even later, and you know, I still have a 25 minute drive to get to work. And I was like, so once I got on the highway, you know, going, everything's going good, my coworker texted me and was like, hey, will you stop and grab bagels on your way into work? And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm like, I can do that. I can use the whatever order online thing at Panera.
Yeah, mobile
order the bagels. They'll be ready. Swing by, pick it up, head into work. I had built the whole order, done everything, put in all my information, everything, hit go. And all while I'm sitting at, you know, 1, 2, 3 stoplights. The first 3, like on the way into town.
Just breaking it up.
Yeah. And then hit checkout and hit thinking.
Yeah.
There's an error with your order. Please try again.
Always.
So thinking I just have to like click checkout again and it'll try again. Oh no, it sent me very back to the beginning where you have to build the whole order and everything. Did that 2 different times.
Oh,
At this point, I'm like, okay, this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm about to throw my phone.
At this point.
So I'm just going to go to Panera, order it, wait, grab it, and go to work. Do that. I get there. Panera has this like really cool like bagel slicer machine, right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
they drop
seen
it, it comes out sliced on the other end. So I order my bagels and a coffee because I skipped coffee in the morning. So I ordered one while I was at Panera. I'm like, well, I'm gonna be here anyways waiting.
Fucking A. Might as well get their hospital food.
So I'm sitting there drinking my coffee. And I'm like, they should be done with this. Like, they run them through that machine, it takes a minute. So I look back, like, where she's at doing the bagels. She was hand slicing every bagel.
Oh, my God. There's a machine.
13 bagels. I sit here and watch her literally,
New girl? What the hell?
sawing across these bagels to cut them in half. And I'm like,
We don't have time for this.
I'm already frustrated, irritated, upset, etc. Basically, when I saw her hand slicing them, my filter broke, and I was. It's probably a great thing that we're still like mandated to have masks inside, and I had one because there was not many people there in Panera. It wasn't very loud, and when I saw her hand slicing the bagels, I'm all, there's a fucking machine.
No fucking way.
Oh, I swear. And you know me, I'm not one of those people that will like generally say anything in a situation
Confront.
well, not that. It's just like what does it solve? It doesn't help anything. I'm not trying to be Karen, you know what I mean?
That's a big Larry David-esque moment.
But it just snap, filter broke. I'm all, there's a fucking machine. And she kind of stopped and I was like, okay, Justin, just relax, calm down. It can't take too long. Like, it's not the end of the world. So I finally get the bagels and I leave. Going to work. Go around the corner at work. And I have a reserved parking spot at work. And I attempt to pull in the parking lot. And someone left the door to the trash can thing open.
Oh.
And so it's blocking the parking lot. Well, no, the entrance to the parking lot, really.
Oh, okay.
But there's another one on the back side. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I had to put it in reverse, go backwards, go to the other side. Well, I go to the other side, and when I get to my spot, I realize there's a freaking utility truck parked in my parking spot, like an electrician or a plumber or somebody.
Those assholes.
And I was like, oh my God. At this point, so much has happened in the morning. I'm so frustrated, like on the brink of wanting to freaking cry or scream or something.
Frustration, man.
So now the only choice I have is to continue around the entire city block so I can try again, for another parking spot, because now I'm past the point of where I could just find a spot along the curb.
Yeah.
And so I go all the way around. I get to the red light. There's only one light in between this full city block that I have to do. And I get to turn right at it. So it should be fairly quick, right? Except for the lady in front of me in the right-hand lane who sat there the entire time, did not have her blinker on to go right. So I figured she was just one of those assholes that
Clogging up the right lane.
that clogs up the right lane and she's waiting to go straight when there's a whole dedicated lane. Light goes green and she turns right. And we sat there the entire signal. Previous two, yeah. And so when the light goes green, she goes right, and so I go right. And she's driving probably normal, actually, to be 100% honest. She was driving like a normal person. But me being upset, irritated, late for work, I was probably speeding. So when the light went green, she turned right. I then follow her, but it splits into 3 lanes.
3 lanes, yeah.
She was in the far left lane. I stayed in the far right lane, and I just kind of gassed it and went.
Yeah.
Again, being upset and irritated, as I pass her, I look to my left at her, and I throw my hand up, and I'm like, I believe my exact words were, "Learn to fucking drive." As I kept going. And then so as I go, I'm getting ready to now turn onto the street to go back to my work. And I see her put on her right blinker, cut across both lanes, and she starts following me.
Oh no, this bitch.
So I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
Oh my God.
And I didn't do anything wrong at this point other than tell her to learn to fucking drive, because she sat right at a red light when she could have went right the entire time.
Yeah.
And so I see her start to follow me, and I was like, oh, here we go.
Great.
So I whipped it immediately into the Walgreens parking lot.
Yeah.
And then in order to get into a parking spot at the Walgreens parking lot, I got to whip it back the other way.
Yeah.
And so I'm hard right, hard left, and she's right behind me.
Evasive driving.
She's right behind me.
Just every step.
Yeah. And so I finally freaking get to the parking spot, and at this point I'm heated. I'm pissed because
This whole time you've been pissed.
the
You've
one-
been probably really pissed.
Oh, yeah. It was one of those days like I should have just stayed home.
Yeah.
I like skip, pause, play tomorrow. We don't need to go through this chapter. And I whip into the spot and I hop out of my car and I'm doing all of this so quick and flustered that I didn't put my car in park. Luckily, I drive a newer car where it'll, if it's left in gear and the door opens, it will automatically throw on the emergency brake. So I'm halfway climbing out of my car when this happens, not even realizing it was still in gear. And it puts itself into, e-brake, jolts it. I'm halfway out of the car. So I'm like, boom, I hit my door a little bit. And so I hopped up on my car on like my 2 feet are basically standing where they would be resting if I was driving.
Yeah.
And I pulled my head up over the car like this because she's now pulled right there. And she's rolling her window down. And I can't remember exactly what she said when she rolled her window down, but she would, you need to watch your mouth or something is what she said. She's like, you need to watch your mouth. I'm all, watch my mouth? I'm all, what did I say?
Yeah.
She goes, you need to be careful what you call people. I'm like, I didn't call you anything for one. And she goes, and for two, why the hell are you throwing your hands up at me and shit, passing me on the road? I said, because you need to learn how to fucking drive. I said, and that's what I said as I passed you. It was hilarious. She's like, you need to watch your mouth, little boy. This girl had to have been the same age as me. Yeah. Like within 2 to 3 years. But apparently she thought she was
hot
something.
Shit. Yeah.
And
don't they all?
She said, so she told me, she's like, you need to watch your mouth, little boy. She's all, you don't know me. I'm all sorts of crazy or something like that. And at that point, like I said, I was done. I was done with everything. I didn't care. Like, I thought I was gonna freaking have to get in a fight with a chick before work.
Kick
like,
chick's ass
I'm like, this is just not
Typical
my day.
Tuesday.
So, she's like, I'm all sorts of crazy. And then she, starts rolling her window back up or whatever. And so I just, at this point, like, it's laugh or cry, right? So I'm like, really trying not to like make it super obvious and piss her off more.
Oh yeah.
Like at this point, I'm just trying to get to work. This is retarded.
She's all sorts of crazy, Justin. You know.
So after all said and done, I was hoping, or not hoping, but I was thinking about the whole situation, and it was after I had like told the story at work. Yeah. And then I was just sitting there thinking, and I'm like, damn, this whole time, like the best thing that I could have come up with and said in that exact moment when she was like, you don't know me, I'm all sorts of crazy. Yeah. So crazy you won't turn right on a red?
Just
like
just
if
the
I
perfect
could have
nugget
given,
of what she did wrong.
If I could have just
bam,
if I could have just freaking delivered that in that moment.
Oh God, it's always,
and it's like you can't go back and you're like, fudge, that would have been the like hammer. Boom. Like
that's perfect.
Yeah.
It's just like
you're so crazy.
Just
you won't even turn right on a red.
Yeah. So simple.
Like
so
how am I gonna be scared at you when you're scared to turn right on a red?
Yeah, so crazy. And it's always that. It's like, why didn't I just say literally the fact of the matter?
But yeah,
Perfect
you never
response.
just get
you never get that.
It's very rare. It's rare.
You get every
rare.
maybe once a year you'll get one, but but there's 4 times a year where you don't, and you're like, son of a bitch.
You're like, dang it! If I had just thought this, like at that moment.
Man, fucking, I feel like
I know it was a really long story to get to the point, but I figured, well,
it was a fun story.
The story was kind of
it was integral to it. No, and I'm glad you had an example too, because. Yeah, from that point on, when I was a kid, when the teacher did that to me, like I was very little and very young. No, I wasn't little. I was huge, but I was little, or I was young. And I, from that point forth, did not trust adults. And it really soured me and just turned me into this misanthropic person.
Yeah,
where like my
trust for people doesn't mean that they're a
Well, and that's also
upstanding person.
Oh yeah, exactly. And it just shattered my whole idea of like authority figure, adult, like, rules. And I don't think I did bad in school until that year. I was a terrific student as far as like performance and like grades, and like I didn't slack off until then.
I think it was kind of just that time period for you, because not just that exact scenario or moment, but a lot of what had to do with why you were always in trouble, if that's what you want to call it, or in the office, or being disruptive, I'm sure was a fairly frequently used term at that time.
It's part of the vocab for sure.
When in reality you weren't being disruptive, you just weren't wearing what everyone else was wearing. You weren't doing what everyone else was doing. You weren't, there was nothing wrong with what you were doing. It didn't endanger anybody. It didn't if it distracted the class, that's a bunch of bullshit in my opinion, because there's all kinds of things that kids do that can be distracting in the classroom. So, you can't wear that jacket because it's distracting to other students because you have pins and patches on it. Like,
it's ridiculous.
If I apologize if that is distractive to some children.
There's a whole class for people that get that distracted, actually.
Maybe there's another issue we need to look at here.
This is not my jacket. This is your
if
child
they have
being distracted.
That severe of ADD, ADHD, whatever it is, that they're distracted by someone else's clothing. Is that really the kid who's wearing the clothes' fault?
Yeah. So
you were always kind of it seemed like you were always kind of being targeted for anything.
That's what it felt like. Everything.
And it didn't help the fact
literally
that
from the shoes
I gave them that reason because you refused
to play ball.
Right. To comply or to, which I'm sure. But as a kid, you don't think like that. But I'm sure there would have been a happy ground for everybody. But here nor there, I disagree with the way the schools handled it the entire time.
It took until...
It didn't help you or my brother either, though.
Yeah.
Because it's like one of those things where, you're so-and-so's brother. Mm-hmm. We know how this is going to go. And it's like...
Thank God we have different last names for that reason, though. Because
in a sense, but it didn't always help.
Didn't always help. Yeah, definitely. There's people who are like, and sometimes also me being a naive kid, I'm like, my older brother. All my brothers are older, but my brother Justin. Like, that's so cool. He's my brother, and then I'm not even knowing that's a loaded statement for them. Mm-hmm. They go, man.
Yeah. And that's because, we all go through our struggles in school, I guess, with teachers and different authority figures, but. Yeah. My elementary school, disciplinary record, I guess you'd say, it was kind of spotty. I was kind of an asshole as a kid. And then middle school, it just got escalated, not by me or the fact that I did anything else. It's just...
Miss Alvarez and Miss Lococo.
Well, yeah, it was literally just before I even was registered at that school, went to that school, they already had an idea of what they thought I was. So
because the magic marker,
no matter anything, that happened during that time.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's just one of those things. It doesn't help when you give them a reason to find something to act like you're being a bad kid, basically. Mm-hmm. I had written something on my hand in Sharpie.
Biased. Well, you were smelling a magic marker because they were the smell, the ones with odor, like the scented ones.
No, that's not what happened at all.
I've heard. Okay.
So
I'm misremembering completely.
That was another time.
Okay. What are you talking about?
But that's when I was in elementary school. So I'm talking about when I'm now in middle school. Mm-hmm. And this is when I had to ride the bus from my school to your school to pick you up, and then we'd go home from there. Mm-hmm. I had written something on my hand in black Sharpie marker.
Mm-hmm. Which I did all the time in elementary school.
Yeah, and I had gotten off of the bus to pick you up, and it was the principal at your school at the time, which was so that's when Lococo was your principal. Wait.
Fiorentino was mine. It was Fiorentino, then Mr. Jarvis.
Ferentino. You're
Ferentino.
Right. So Ferentino. So I get off the bus, and he was my principal when I went to that school.
Yeah.
And he and I didn't ever see eye to eye or agree on anything. So he already didn't like me. It doesn't help. And then I get off the bus, and I've got black Sharpie marker written on my hand.
Yeah.
And so I'm waiting for you, get you, go home, and I didn't think anything of it, right? Nothing was said to me. Nothing was ever anything weird. So then the next day at school, I get called into my principal's office.
Okay.
And they're like, well, you're at the middle school. After school, you rode the bus to the elementary school, and you're sitting there putting Sharpie on your hands, huffing Sharpie, trying to get high.
God.
And I'm like, that is not even remotely close to anything that happened. I was like, I had something written on my hand in Sharpie. I'll admit that. I'll give you that. But huffing Sharpie off of my hand, why wouldn't I just do it off the marker?
Yeah. Why is that a second location? Who does that? Just bullshit.
That was one of the scenarios, you know what I mean? So it's not like I was a bad kid. It's just like they just found ways to make it seem like you were.
They did. Let's stop giving them any more attention. What did you want to be when you were a kid? Like when you were growing up? Like did it? So when do you have an idea, or did it change a lot? Like
it didn't change a lot. No.
Okay.
So for the longest that I could remember,
fucking kill this cricket.
Like how your grandparents ask you, or whoever asks you, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? The only response I ever really gave anybody was I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Oh, okay. I might have remembered this.
And I have no idea when, why, what, or how.
And it turns out you would have been a bad one, because we got a dead tree frog and a dead anole over here.
But
you're already putting them down. Sorry to derail you there.
It's probably the fact that I found out that it took
years of
6 to 8 years of schooling,
like any doctoring,
I've had 4, 8. I don't know. It's a lot of time for someone who struggled through school, didn't like school that much. Signing up for an additional 4 to 8 years of school after I'm done with it kind of deterred me from it, is what happened.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I kind of switched, and I was like, oh, okay, well. It was kind of always like a medical field kind of thing, is what I had thought. So then the vet thing, I was like, oh, that's a little more of a commitment than I want to do.
Yeah.
So then I wanted to be a EMT for years after that. And then I actually started taking my classes in 2010 and 11 to become a certified EMT. The only reason I stopped that is because I had found out that a couple of my bad choices from the past allowed me to, or disqualified me from being able to be an EMT. So I was like, okay, well, I was kind of upset about that one. That one actually hurt, because I was like, really? That's so stupid. Like, that something so small, it's not small and trivial and non-important, but
evidently, yeah.
I just don't get how.
Is that something you want to go into?
Oh, so I don't care.
Yeah.
So
just
when I was 21 years old, I got a pretty decent DUI charge. Literally, I was celebrating a birthday for a friend at a bar. Everyone was drinking. We're all hanging out. Probably not even any single one of us that drove there should have drove anywhere off of that parking lot.
Yeah. As those parties go.
As
celebration.
Everybody did, and
still do.
You don't think about it. And you hop in the car and you freaking take off because you've done it before, and hey, nothing happened. And difference was this time I had like a 15-mile drive home. Everyone else lived in the town we were in.
Okay, so you had a little bit more of a journey.
Yeah. So I get in the car and I'm fine. I'm driving down the road, and like the two lines in the road, you know, that you stay in between, became like 4 or 6 lines all of a sudden.
Oh, wow, 6 lanes,
Like,
crazy.
and they started to like cross each other.
Oh,
and I was like, oh shit.
That's
So rather than like logically stopping, immediately pulling over and thinking about this, I closed one eye. And
so you closed one eye, so
when I closed one eye, the 2 lines reappeared and they were straight. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm halfway home at this point. I'm like,
you know what?
I can get the rest of the way with one eye. I'm pretty sure.
I should half my vision. That'll be safer.
Excuse me. So then I went and driving with the one eye, and at that point I could not honestly tell you with any confidence one way or another if I fell asleep or blacked out at that point, because I have no memory after that, up until the point I feel the steering wheel getting ripped out of my hands. And
oh God.
I wake up with the steering wheel getting ripped out of my hands. I feel my car, it was an SUV, I feel it pitch sideways, and then I just can hear, feel, and know that I am sliding horizontally, you know, when tires don't go horizontally.
No, they don't turn that way.
All 4 tires are now sliding across the pavement.
Whoa.
And I'm you know, hammered. I have no business driving, but I knew as soon as I felt it get ripped out of my hands not to touch it again. I'm like, okay, kind of whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Oh,
if I grab the wheel, chances are I'm just going to make it worse.
Or
I'm going
maybe
to roll
an
or flip
overcorrection and fuck it up. Yeah, because I mean,
especially because I don't know where I'm at on the road.
Your
I don't know
orientation,
what.
Yeah.
I had no idea of anything. I just knew that my car was sliding sideways. Steering wheel got ripped out of my hands, and so I kind of just threw up my hands and sat back in my seat. And this is all split seconds.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
The story's longer than the whole situation, of course. You know, where it's like,
I was like, let go, sit back, relax, and whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So sliding off across the concrete, and then I know for a fact I'm hitting the gravel because the sound changes.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, just bam, dead stop. And what I had done is I had wrapped my Chevy Blazer around a telephone pole. And
those are not cheap.
No, and they do charge you for them.
Yeah.
So basically that decision, okay, because I got a DUI with a blood alcohol content of 0.20 during that moment in time, that
People
actually
die at 0.20.
made me they say 3. They say at 2 you're definitely most likely unconscious.
Which you were, maybe.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know.
Damn, dude.
But anyway, so that made me ineligible to be an EMT. So then,
how far into the classes did you find this out that you were disqualified from that?
Well, because I was an overachiever and I blew a .20, it put me, even though I was a first-time offender, it put me into
felony
a higher class
bracket. Okay,
they call it extended first-time offender, because generally on a first DUI you have to do a 3-month DUI class. Yeah. Well, when you blow over double the legal limit, you go through the extended first offenders class, which is a 9-month long class.
Oh wow! You fucking carry that
and
thing
it was
full term.
Probably 3-4 months into it that I found out.
Jesus Christ, that sucks. That's a fucking buzzkill. Well, I mean, was there an idea beyond attempting to be an EMT that you had in mind for a career? Or maybe like a goal, or maybe like not in terms of like like I want to do this if I can't do this, but because like I don't know anyone really
who
knew
really
what they wanted to do in their 21
I don't think
anyways.
So.
Like I can't, like anyone who thinks they know what they want to do, I don't really believe. I know they're going to school for it. I know they're in the field they think they want to do it, but like anyone who's under 30 and like thinks that's where they're going or they want to be, and you know, if you're like, you know, erring on the edge at 30, but if you're like 25 and under, I guess, and you're like, I want to be this, I want to do this, and this is what I want, I am so hesitant, and I'm very careful around those people because I feel like their idea of what they want and what they want to achieve is not going to work out and are really going to be disappointed. They might be thinking of things in a little unrealistic way. Not unrealistic in the sense of attainability, but also like, you have a lot of life ahead of you. This is not the only thing, right? Don't be so narrow-minded or so tunnel visioned with one thing. And maybe it's just because I can't relate, because I'm so scatterbrained, because I'm so ADD that I like 29 things and I need to do 50 new fucking hobbies and like, but make sure the old ones are kept lit and stuff. So I don't know. I was just always curious, because like those kind of things with you, like I don't think we really spoke much at all from like, I don't know, the time you were 18 to maybe living here very much.
No, and probably
almost
not,
like a good
because
10 years of like very seldom communication, and it's
I don't know if I'd say 10 years. A good chunk of time, definitely like 7,
18
8
to
years,
28
6,
is
7
what
years at least. But yeah, and that's because I would imagine that's just because at the time we weren't geographically close to each other to do that.
Yeah. Whether you were in Montana,
whether it was
Bakersfield,
right? So Montana, Bakersfield, or even just you being here and then me living in Slow or living in Grover or any of those places. I mean, during that whole time, I didn't see Mom much either.
Yeah.
So it's just because even though it's relatively close, I mean, when you work full time, you know, all of this.
Yeah, I get it.
Last thing you want to do is hop in the car again and go drive, another hour and a half, 2 hours to turn around and go back home that same hour and a half, 2 hours the next day.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I think a lot of people more or less, and I could be wrong, but to me it seems like people fall into many of their jobs that they have as an adult, and it's not even anything relatively close to what they thought or wanted to do. And not that that's always a bad thing either.
No.
But for example, I'm a very mechanical person. Like
very mechanically
I literally like almost live in the garage.
Yeah,
it's kind of pointless to have a living room, and even honestly, if I didn't have like needed a place to sleep at night, that I would have a bedroom. Like, what the heck would I need it for? And
it's so cool.
But if you look at my knowing my personality and how mechanical and hands-on that I really am, you would never guess that for 10 hours a day I sit behind a desk on a computer as a marketing coordinator.
Yeah,
like that. It's never anything I would have thought, planned, or could have ever seen myself doing, but that's what I've been doing for 10 years. Yeah. I'm pretty good at it.
You're pretty fucking good.
Now, outside of when I'm at work, do I sit here at home and think about anything like marketing-wise? No, not really. I mean, it'll cross my mind from now and then, but...
You turn the oven off.
Yeah, but it... It's not my interest. It's not my hobby. It's not something I have any sort of passion about, I guess. I mean, I like it, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. But it doesn't do anything super special for me. Like if I was out, doing the woodworking or working on a car or that kind of stuff is
dude, I just want to know
so much more interesting.
Have you always, like, to me, you've always have, like,
literally.
I get some of my earliest memories.
As long as I know.
And it's so funny, you think like market coordinator isn't really where you think you'd end up, but you were trying, as early as I can remember, you were like collecting acorns so we could make acorn soup and sell it on the side of the road on Chesapeake. And
like, what is that?
Bike.
Like I was making things up at that point.
You were, and then like at one point, like,
oh, you're saying like from a business standpoint.
Sure. No, that's what I'm saying. And like you, at one point, we were gonna have D&J or J&D's bike repair shop, and you were just gonna have like bike parts and like tools, and that was something you wanted to do. And I was just like, okay, whatever you say, bro. And then you were taking computers apart and building them and like circuit boards and like I don't even know the fucking words for those things that go in there. I just know that that's how I give my computer viruses with porn. That's all I know. I don't fucking know about
the circuitry inside.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And I'm like, this motherfucker is just beyond me. And it didn't occur to me that you might be different than other people in that way.
Right.
Where it was just like, oh, this motherfucker like knows what he's doing, or not, or at least wants to know, and he's like trying.
I was gonna say,
to me, it was
that's
just
not always.
Yeah,
I didn't always know what I was doing.
And we don't always, but that's how we learn. And it's like, it's so cool to be kind of like self-aware of the different walks of life, and to see how inclined you are, whether it's mechanically or taking things apart or putting them together. And you always have this tendency to want to improve, optimize, fix, and kind of like heal things in a way. And I don't know if that comes from maybe like there's something that you can't fix in maybe like on an emotional way, or like maybe like in a childhood kind of way. Like I'm always curious to see how those things
like what
transfer
right
into what,
like how does somebody become who they are, kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
like what triggered or influenced them to be a certain way, or
like I don't know. I think comedian for me too was like the jokes of like they're very anti-authoritarian, and they are iconoclastic in this, meaning they challenge those sacred beliefs of authority, whether it's societal or whether it's this stuff that like where no one's asking about or talking about or pointing out, like, hey, what the hell is this about, even if it's observational. So I think that like my challenges with authority early on, it really kind of pushed me into that, where it was like, oh, there's people who are celebrated for thinking the way that got me in trouble, and maybe there's something that you can fix that is fixing. If I can fix this way, then there's the catharsis that I wasn't getting or didn't get in another way, whether it was through an upbringing or
see. I don't think I don't think mine has anything to do with anything like that.
I knew
meaningful.
you'd say some shit like that. I fucking knew you'd say some shit
honestly,
like that.
though,
You
because
just can't be fucking human. You're part cyborg. I know it.
Because I just don't. There's not anything I can think of or relate or that would logically make sense to me as to why I am that way.
No, of course.
But
and
I'm just saying that.
Either.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that it. I don't. People ask me like all the time, like, how do you know this, or how do you know so much about this or that, or whatever it may be.
I think that's just who we are as like mom's children too.
And they're like, or how did you learn this? I'm like, I don't even have an answer for most of it. I'm like, I don't know. I don't. There's not anything like. I guess it bothers me if I. Well, actually, I know part of it.
Yeah.
So.
I'm gonna fucking kill this cricket.
I get super like anxious kind of if I can't figure out how something works.
I get the same fucking way.
Or if I don't know how something works. So what I'll do is I'll stop and pause, and I'll go look it up. I'll research it. How do these work? What parts are in them? How's it built?
That's what I'm going through right now.
And understand and identify different components, what they do, and then it kind of just evolves in itself. Like, there was no reason I had to know that, but I was curious, looked it up, now I know it. May use it, may not, ever in my life.
I'm sure.
But then something happens, something breaks, and someone's like, hey, this isn't working, do you? I'm like, well, I happen to know like how it works, and it's actually a simple
it's such a goddamn understatement too, because you know things in a technical way, but you also know the trivial background too, especially with automobiles, cars. It's so crazy, the fucking encyclopedic knowledge you have of fucking cars, dude. Like
because they're
just
to
machines,
me,
and
they're
I'm going
super simple
through-
systems.
But I'm going through kind of a similar thing myself, where I've always been on like the trivial side of like I want to know the origin, the story, who's responsible, and then maybe I'll get lost along the way and I learn 10 other things because I'm clicking on all the blue letters on the wiki page. But
right, like falling down the rabbit hole kind of thing.
yeah, I'm a big
And that's where a lot of mine comes from, too.
Crusader. And I think I'm just kind of scratching the surface on the mechanics of the world and life, and like whether it's like cars, trying to figure out like what the fuck the difference between diesel is and trucks, and like not knowing, and just like slowly getting exposed to those kinds of things. And like with firearms, it's like, oh, finally something that's simple enough for my stupid ass to comprehend, and it's attributing something to a hobby and like an interest of mine, so there's like a nice little middle ground. So
right, well, and like for that too, there's two sides to it. So like you're saying, for firearms, it's something that grabs your interest, and so you want to, just by your nature as a person, want to, at least I would think, know how, like, not only how do I shoot, what is shooting, what guns are there, like different things like that, but also to know, okay, great, if this is something I that interests me and I like shooting, I should probably understand how it shoots, understand how internally that gun works, how what the pieces are, what the
that's what I was doing
to
this
those
morning,
pieces are, and things like that.
There was a malfunction, and I was doing a function check on the rifle, and I was like, okay, so this thing's being double fed. I need to understand how common that is, what I can do to avoid it, whether it is a piece of the machinery that isn't quality, whether it's a quality control issue, whether it's a user error. And I was watching a video and doing that when I came here today.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So, even if, range shooting is your hobby, and say you don't even own a firearm. You go to the range, you shoot, and it's a hobby, it's something you like to do. I think by nature as a person, even if you don't own one, you're going to be curious and want to know how it works, because anything that you have an interest in or a hobby with,
when people don't,
you want to know the whole aspect of this situation. You don't just, like, imagine being like a rock climber. You love rock climbing, and you can climb all the rock walls in the world at amusement parks, different things, whatever. You're not going to go out and try to like free climb the face of a mountain somewhere because, I can rock climb really well and I like it. No, because you don't have the knowledge or the equipment necessary to go actually and truly safely go and do that hobby.
Yeah.
I mean, me personally, I would never operate a firearm if I did not understand the mechanics of how it works. Whether that be for my own safety, so I know that it's actually something safe, or if it's just out of curiosity.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go tear an engine apart if I don't know what pieces are in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the, and it's such an impressive thing. And honestly, just you are like the warm center that I think, at least me and Mom, kind of like gravitate toward, like around our, our fucking, what is that? What do planets do? Orbit, you know what I mean? Of like knowledge and like repair and just ingenuity, and it seriously, like, when you got in the Forerunner the other day and you were like, man, if I had this, I'd have been done so many things to this by now. And there was part of me that was like, I know you would, and I know I want to, but you know a lot of some things that I do not, where I would or I would want to. And I literally am just like, there's a part of me that's always screaming out like, fuck, I wish Justin was here right now. He would give me all the information I want and need about this, and we can talk about it. And there was a time where I couldn't appreciate that and didn't know that about you. And I think over the past few years, and I think honestly, if you didn't have this dog, we wouldn't be as as presently close as we are now. And it's so fucking weird.
He just likes me for my dog.
Yeah, I mean, well, and it was just like, it was like, hey, I like this dog, and my brother comes with it. I guess that's cool.
Basically,
it's really cool because he's essentially given me a bond with you because you are an extension of him, and it's I've just grown to know a whole nother person that I didn't get to grow up with, and that for a lot of reasons that we don't have to go into, like we are very different, and had very different paths that we followed,
right,
and weren't in the same home a lot of the time, or vice versa. And it like you were talking about something just a little bit ago, and I was sitting here like grinning because I trip out that I'm sitting here like interfacing with you and like talking, and I'm like, that's my brother. That's so cool. Like, this is a person in front of me, and I get to see how animated he is and express himself. And even when we first started, there was something like a look in your eye and like a kind of like a almost performative response, or like you were just like understanding the assignment, as they say. Like when you were talking in the microphone, and I was like, oh, I've never seen that out of Justin. That's so cool. That's like, I like to have known you my whole life, and to continue to know you and learn who you are is really important to me. And like that's why I have the podcast too, is because there's conversations I have with people that you can only have when you force this vacuum of dialogue with recording equipment and an annoying cricket, and like just forcing someone to converse with you face to face.
Yeah, it definitely kind of just, well, like you said, the way you said it actually worked perfect was, getting to, or knowing you, getting to know you, and learning more, it, and it doesn't have to be a forced thing either. It's just, it creates a cutout perfect amount of space to have a one-on-one conversation that's unique from, if we're hanging out in the garage, generally I'm busy. So even though we're conversating and talking,
next to each other, but we're not really like connecting.
It's not like we're having a focused conversation,
Yeah.
So less gets communicated, or comes out, to learn, for me to learn more about you, It's generally talking about something that we're currently doing, not like a conversation.
Yeah, you see those slivers of the person that you don't really always see because it's attached to a different part of their expression.
Right.
So you get more expression, whether it's subtle or not so subtle. I've asked people on Instagram what I should ask my brother on the podcast, and I got a couple of people to give me some real questions. Do you mind if I ask you them right now?
No, go ahead.
All right, let's do it. I gotta pull up Instagram, but I thought it was fun and interesting. So, sorry for the fucking dead air here, everyone. Yeah. So I said, what did I say? I think I said I'm going to record a podcast with my brother. What should I ask him? Just no one really has any context unless they're longtime listeners, really, of my relationship with you, where however prevalent or non-existent it is or has been. Kylie actually said I should ask what's your dream day look like?
A dream day?
Yeah, like what's your ideal day?
It's a good question because, and see, it's one of those things like, I don't even know if it is something I can answer because I don't even know.
Well, and maybe you've had it and you just haven't really given it the attention or awarded it the perfect day because it just happened so nicely. And honestly, a dream day is like extravagant when you phrase it that way, in my opinion.
No, I'm just thinking like...
But if you say dream day, like, to be a dream day, like, I sleep in, but then I wake up and I have plenty of day left somehow, and I'm not tired, and breakfast is glorious, and then I get a blowjob on my way to do whatever fun stuff I'm doing, and, like, whatever the fuck, like a dream day is.
Yeah, I don't know. Just, on it, and it sounds terrible, don't take it the wrong way, to have a day where literally I can just not have even one single person, thing, or whatever interrupt my day or influence it, I guess. Like, for one day, basically, it would be this. For one day, basically, I am the only person on the planet. and as narcissistic and terrible as that sounds,
it doesn't.
I just want to have a outside influenced day.
Uninterrupted. Those are the best.
Yeah.
That's exactly. I think that's one of those moments where like where we are related and I can relate to you because. And it sucks so much too because every time I show up, part of me is thinking he's probably like, "Oh, great! What the fuck does he need now or want now?" Just like even like in a little minute kind of way. So that's only gonna balloon more in my head.
There are some people that happens with, but no, you're not one of those people that like trigger me internally to be like, "Son of a bitch."
I try to be as like non-intrusive as I can about it, and it's always my favorite thing is when I have any sort of like problem that I need solved that's mechanical, and I can literally just be like, man, this thing doesn't work, and you'll like fucking grab it and then like look it up and then like start fixing it for me.
Well, that's what I'm telling you.
And I'm like,
it's
God,
just
that
the
was
way
perfect. That's exactly
my
what I
person
needed.
is. Because if something isn't working, it's like a challenge, almost like a challenge. And then if I can't figure it out logically just by looking at it or simple mechanics, then it bothers me.
Yeah.
So then I'll spend the time to do the research.
And we did this with the beginning of the show even.
Yeah, and
early
I'll
on,
generally
ago,
fix and or solve whatever current issue at hand there may be. And
even if you know
that's how I
nothing
slowly
about the subject.
have accumulated my library of random shit that Justin knows.
Yeah. It's good. It's an eclectic intelligence, you know.
So what's the other question?
Oh, another.
Or was there not?
There's
Or
more.
was there
No,
not?
there's more.
We
But
got the
point
one.
The point of the questions is to the conversation that comes with them. It's really not even necessarily about the
Getting through questions.
Yeah. It's connecting with someone. So this next one's kind of indulgent. So if you would indulge, what's your favorite memory with me? We're gonna be here all night, folks.
No. I'm just trying to look. Okay, so favorite,
or maybe ones that come to mind, or something. I don't know. This isn't my question. This is something someone asked me to ask.
Sure. No.
But I'm also just.
I mean, I have many memories with you that I cherish. You know, but I have probably more recently. Yeah. Like for absolutely no reason the other day when I don't even think I knew you were coming over. You kind of just showed up. I was sitting in the garage at that time, surprisingly doing nothing, which doesn't happen often. And like we just randomly, for unplanned, no particular reason, I had to run some errands. We went and got some lunch.
Yeah,
at the burger place, and then hiked up the hill over there.
To the crevice.
Yeah. And then again, for no apparent reason, just hiked up there, stood up there for 20 minutes talking, and then hiked back down and went back to the house. I guess just simple things like that, because even though we're not doing anything super exciting or fun or something that's memorable necessarily, but just the conversation and the experience that we have, makes it one of those. So it's not like, oh, when we went to Disneyland, it's just a random normal days that stick out to me for some reason.
It seriously, it is those kinds of things. And I remember that day very vividly because I had very much like the same feeling of like, I have never done this with Justin. This is great. I've never gone to lunch with you, just you and me, ever.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's
That's
just like memorable kind of.
That's, you know what I mean? I can count on both hands how many times we've like hugged in my entire life. So like even going to like lunch with you being like the first times, like not that much of a surprise to me, but it might sound kind of shocking when it's like you've never like just
had lunch with your brother.
But and then like, you know, going up and hiking there and like getting to like kind of like show my older brother like the way of something for just a little bit. And I think that's something that really helps me gravitate towards like firearms. It's like, here's something mechanical that I know just a little bit more about him, and the only reason I do is because he's not actively interested in it, because he would surpass me in no fucking time at all if he was. So that's fun. That one of my favorite memories with you is real recent. Not even a memory, just like a little moment. It was I was sitting on the little couch and we were just both like on our phones, and you just sat right next to me, and Remy was like right in front of us, and it's like it was just like a shared space of like, this is my brother, and we were dressed the exact fucking same for some reason. We both had like the same like color, like baggy blue jeans and like hoodie or something, or it was like a black t-shirt, and I was so
90% of my closet.
Yeah, 90%
hoodies and black t-shirts.
Exactly. So, and we were just sitting there, and it was, we're just existing, like coexisting in the house right now, on, you know.
Right.
And Remy's just like chilling there, and we're doing the exact same thing, and it was just like, it was like we were twins for a second, and it was really endearing, and it was so like, I've never had that with him before either. That was really cool. Like that made my heart swell in like a really like brotherly love and like family love kind of way. And I think just in the past few years I think the biggest turning point for me too, as far as connectivity with the family, it was losing John.
Yeah.
Because just the like sheer like trust too of like, you're like, you have to drive the Chevy back to Bakersfield, and we're just gonna go, and then having to drive back with you, and just that to me was like the first kind of, I didn't even hug you when I saw you when I first saw you after he was killed. I remember thinking that this is something I was gonna do. I was like, I'm gonna see Justin, we're gonna hug each other, it's gonna be an emotional embrace. But I just walked into the garage door and you were sitting there, and it was just,
was that in Bakersfield?
No, it was right here.
It was here. Oh.
Yeah. So, and it was very, it was like, we're not there yet, or like it's not there yet type of thing. And I'm not a hugger anyways, if I can help it. It's
I get weird in those situations.
Yeah.
Not weird. I feel uncomfortable in those situations.
It's uncomfortable. It's not normal.
I'm not a
affectionate kind of person.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And I can appreciate
on a normal
that.
basis. So
can appreciate that.
When I almost feel like
and I'm not looking.
People look at me like I'm like, oh God, he's a heartless asshole. Like, because I generally don't cry. I generally don't.
I don't know if I've seen you cry as an adult in my entire adult life either.
Like when that happened, you know, I would sit there and hug Tasha, and I can only imagine the pain and emotions and everything she was going through. And you know, she's sitting there, saw me bawling, and I'm sitting there hugging her with not even a tear coming down, and not because I don't have all of that flowing through my body. It's just me as a person. I don't
not how it's
show
expressed.
the emotion on the exterior like that generally. Why that is, I have no idea. It's just how I was wired, I guess.
And it's not I'm not unfamiliar with it myself, because there has been moments, and even just in this past year,
I was gonna say,
losing Kylie's dad, there's been moments when I've like wondered, like, I hope they don't think I'm a heartless asshole,
right?
Because I am, you know, screaming on the inside. That internal pain is there. It's just, you know, gritting my teeth, but I can't really just let it out, because that's just not the route it goes for me at all times. It has to be very kind of sharp in a very unique way, not even in the most severe way, but like in a, you know, like for some reason to circle back with movies get me very emotional.
That's what I was going to say. Is what's so funny is a real life scenario where like the emotion is flowing through. You know what I mean? And there are times I can't display that emotion.
Yeah.
But there can be times where I'm just like sitting at home watching a comedy movie even, but something sad happens in it, and there I sit like crying about a movie.
Yeah.
But I can't not emotionally connect, but like have an emotional cry, like when there's something tragic happening. It's just
very
so
different,
weird.
Very different. I that's how I feel. That's how I feel. We may be similar in that. Well, thank you for indulging me in that question. And then
so far, both questions, my answers have been like totally what
specific?
No, not non-specific, but like
brief. What?
Well, that too, but no, more direct. Like, so you know, oh, what's your perfect day? And like just to have a.
That's how you know someone though, is having them answer questions at their leisure. Let them I think that like this helps me know you. This helps listeners who don't know us know you and me. So that's why it's important. Also, one last question to kind of wrap it up, because I don't know how the rest of these kind of joke questions. Some people are just like asking about burps and farts and shit like that, and just, you know, some people take things seriously, some people don't. That's fine. Fuck you, Sean. My buddy David, that I train jiu-jitsu with in Solving, he asked, why don't you train jiu-jitsu?
A few reasons. Time. When would I do that? Yeah. Honest to God. Second, it just never was really something that ever kind of crossed my mind or interested me for any.
I know why you don't train jiu-jitsu.
particular reason is just I just. It's really basically it, is the fact that I would have absolutely no time to do it. Yeah. And my interests or hobbies lie different, I guess. You know,
I totally
like,
get it. That's the same, you know,
like for
same reason I'm not into cars, because my hobbies fucking lie elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Like
my interests lie elsewhere. Totally.
How come you don't sit there and sand on wood for 5 hours in your garage? Jealous, you know, like,
you know, I guess I just haven't. No one's taken me to the class.
I'm not saying that I never would, or that it wouldn't be something that interested me. I just, it's not something that I gravitate towards, I guess.
You seem like someone who would be an ideal jiu-jitsu student too, because it's, there's like a lot of nerds in jiu-jitsu, and you're very nerdy in the sense that you get very intelligibly invested in things, and that's exactly how that martial art is, because it's so endless. It's not like kung fu where it's like 3-4 poses and strikes and kicks and that's how you do it. It's just this litany of physical movements, explosions, and you're, you know, with clothing, strangulations and joint locks and manipulations and different guards people have, and I think that kind of because it is so endless, and because you never stop learning it, it seems like something that you would be inclined to do and do well at. And you're physically, you have long limbs and arms, or long limbs, those are limbs, arms are limbs, absolutely perfect for jiu-jitsu. People who excel at jiu-jitsu typically have same body type as you. Yeah. You know, tall, skinny, and like, you know, lean. It just fucking, you're like, the legs you have would be terrific, triangling people, and arms just wrapping them around people's necks and just getting in tighter spaces that they're trying not to allow, and vice versa. Right. Yeah. I'm not trying to sell it to you, but
no, yeah, no, and like I said, it's not that I have anything against it. It's just that it doesn't fall into one of the categories that really grabs an interest for me.
Mm-hmm.
But those are some good questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I liked that I got to ask you a couple of those questions. That was cool. Dream day, eye-opening.
And see, some of them too, it works out really good because then it kind of gets my mind going like, well, why don't I have an answer for this? Or why don't I really know what my answer for that would be?
Yeah,
so it's something now I can sit there and think about and kind of explore.
Yeah, someone asks the wrong question at the right time, or vice versa. You're like, Jesus, now I got to answer this question I didn't know could be asked. And I think that's important because I love people who ask questions, because it's the same reason we learn things and we get so invested in those things, trivially or otherwise, is because we're asking the questions like, how does this work? Who invented this? Why does this work that way? Do you watch that Up to Speed guy, the donut media guy? I think is yeah, okay. I think you actually showed him to me, actually.
Probably.
I said actually a lot,
but
there.
I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That sort of thing. I don't know. To me, that speaks a lot of speaks a lot of some things. I don't know. Well, any parting statements, questions you have for me, or anything? We'll probably wrap this up. This is a great little bit here. I mean, just to maybe satisfy any curiosities you had about me or the show.
Kind of try to ask you one of the questions you asked me to get a good contrast, to you versus me kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But I think you them the same. I was gonna say I think you
pretty similar for those.
Kind of gave your exactly your answer or opinion on that. After I gave mine, but again,
we know
get to learn more
We're not bad with that.
about each other, so that's kind of cool.
That is cool. I would do one of these
with your family,
very often.
Yeah, I know. And then it's interesting to find out that you don't know everything about them. I guess keeps things interesting as life goes on. So
I'm a pretty open book.
Otherwise,
rarely do I think I'm surprising you or mom in any way. Maybe
I can't answer for mom, but I know for myself, there are many times you surprise me with things that I'm like,
I would have never guessed that in a fucking 100 years. Like what? Now I'm curious.
Well,
for
example, with building your firearm, your different things like that. Not to say that I didn't think you could, because that's not
see me do something like that.
Yeah, more or less that. I think you're fully capable to do anything you want to do. I mean, all you do is just begin to learn it, But
that's what I'm learning.
No, a lot of it takes a lot of different mechanical skills to do something like that, even though it may not seem like it. But it does, and it was never something that I would have associated with you or your personality. So to see you take something and mechanically build or assemble it or figure it out or troubleshoot, whatever it may be,
literally
is interesting to see.
It gave me imposter syndrome. I felt like I was just I was trying to be Justin. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. It was interesting to watch and see that how your mind works with any sort of issue that you ran into or whatever that was,
just being frustrated and throwing it across the garage.
well, I mean, something as simple as that pin thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I needed your help.
Granted,
and
it was a bitch. It's not an easy thing to do. But how
cool to have you help me
to see the way your brain wanted to solve it versus the way my brain wanted to solve it. It was interesting to see because
we had to come together on that one.
Both were total possibilities of hey, this will work or hey, this will work.
Mine's so much more the brute, and yours is so much more the technician.
Calculated. Yeah. But that's okay because
I need to hammer this thing in. And you're like, we need to just
sometimes one way doesn't always work.
Yeah. And it was you helping me finish it was fucking awesome. I think that was literally the last part that I needed to do with any sort of effort. The rest was just so intuitive. So that was cool.
But yeah, I think that was that was another thing too, actually. So, like I said, another recent thing.
Yeah.
But maybe they're easier to think of because they're recent.
Yeah, probably.
But like as far as like another good memory or memorable moment with you, would be literally troubleshooting and solving. That. Because
all of the things we kind of like came across building and everything. Oh, that's really eye-opening and very thoughtful. I could do one of these with you like every couple weeks, though.
Yeah, probably, because it's one of those things we don't...
Oh, shut up. It's Mom. Come on.
Hi, sorry, but you guys can wrap it up soon?
Yeah, we're
At the
wrapping it up
moment.
right now. You just ruined the ending, Mom.
No.
I'm just kidding.
You can edit it.
Yeah. Oh,
No.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't dare. Yeah, we're wrapping it up right now.
Okay,
Be right down.
all right.
For dinner.
Probably wants out anyway.
Yeah,
I think
he's
so,
done.
yeah.
He's done with our shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's as good a sign as any.
Right.
Justin, thank you so much. I feel like I learned a little bit about you and at least got a little bit of a, deeper connection with my brother. So that's important.
Yeah, agreed.
Which is why, why I wanted to do this with you. I don't know if I thought that I was going to ask you to do this way earlier, but it did just kind of like, why would I not just talk to my brother right
in a
there?
way you kind
too?
of did, but me being me, try to avoid it.
You're not the only one, dude. It's so funny.
and
The people
it's
who
not
like,
it's not out of, I don't want to sit there and have
I
a
know,
conversation
I
with
know,
you.
I
It's
know.
just, I'm
you're not the kind of person to take the attention like that, in my opinion.
yes, that and two, it's like, I'm just one of those people. I'm like, nobody gives a shit what I have to say regardless. So
And I
I
hear
know that's
that
not what
from
it's about,
Every
so-
every other guest,
and I
they're
know
like,
that's not
well,
what it's
I'm not
about,
gonna
and
say
that's why I bite the bullet. And I'm like, okay, well, he's asked me a couple times. I already told him no once. Like, I'm gonna have to say yes eventually. So I kind of was just like, yeah, no problem, sure.
I know.
Like, it's gonna happen sooner or later, and
I'm gonna have one with Mom eventually
if-
too.
yeah,
I'm,
and if
I'm
that's
curious to
what
see how.
you want and
Easy
need
enough.
for your podcast,
Mm-hmm.
well then sure, that's what I can contribute and be helpful with,
Yeah.
in that sense. So
Oh, it's gonna happen again, so you just better get comfortable with it.
yeah,
which I
and
think
like
is
I said,
easy.
that's fine. I knew it was going to happen. I know it, at some point. So it's like, well, might as well quit fighting it and just do what we do. See how it comes out.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on here.
Anytime.